Coming up in this episode of In Clear Focus,
one of the key things is the interpersonal relation with the customer, which is coming from where we see now a lot of the tech firms are going. It's personalization. So we saw this with all these new tech firms. What made them successful on their platform, they understood every customer, what they really care about, what they need, what they prefer, and they offered that to them back.
You're listening to In Clear Focus, fresh perspectives on marketing and advertising produced weekly by Big Eye, a strategy-led full-service creative agency growing brands for clients globally. Hello, I'm your host, Adrian Tennant, Big Eye's Chief Strategy Officer. Thank you for joining us. Recent research from Kantar reveals a striking insight. Customer experiences contribute more to brand perceptions than advertising. In fact, while paid media delivers 25% of brand building impact, direct customer experience and word of mouth account for around half of all brand perceptions. Our guest today is uniquely positioned to help us understand this data point. Professor Mohamed Zaki is based at the Institute for Manufacturing in the Department of Engineering at the University of Cambridge, where he serves as Deputy Director of the Cambridge Service Alliance. This research centre brings together the world's leading firms and academics to address digital transformation challenges. Mohamed has consulted and lectured for over 50 organisations, including Manchester United, Caterpillar and IKEA. He's also the course leader for the Data-Driven Design for Customer Experience online course at Cambridge University Press and Assessment, and co-founder of Customer Experience Insights Limited, which developed the 360CX AI platform for customer engagement decision-making. He serves in advisory roles for several companies, most recently as AI Innovation Advisor at Tactful AI. His new book, published by Kogan Page, is Data-Driven Customer Experience Transformation – Optimize Your Omnichannel Approach, which is also our selection for the Big Eye Book Club this month. To discuss some of his book's key ideas and frameworks, I'm delighted that Mohamed is joining us today from Northamptonshire in the UK. Mohamed, welcome to In Clear Focus.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Adrian.
What inspired you to write Data-Driven Customer Experience Transformation?
So I work most of my career helping organizations around this area in particular for a while. So most of my research helping firms to understand how they can leverage data and AI to design better experience, but also as well to manage it in particular. What it made me drive the book is actually the fast pace of the era that we're living at the moment, especially the digital transformation that's happening with many firms. When I've been asking a lot of practitioners, they were struggling a little bit with the right tools and frameworks that enable them to design the future of services and experience for the firms. But more important is leveraging this new emerging technology like AI and data to enable them to understand their customers better. And this is particularly problematic in enterprise firms or established firms, not the digital-born organization. You can see digital-born organizations, they quite starting as a startup, nimble, their tools and softwares and solutions is quite up-to-date. So that's allow them to become more a data-driven, if you like, organization. Think about ChatGPT, for example. This is an example of a data-driven business organization, which has managed to do a better experience for users when we are interacting with a machine. In this case, a conversational AI. There will be a lot of attempts before, but they were the most successful one. And that came from the statistics. Many users daily joining their platform now. And this is because of the experience they had with this conversational AI capability. So I guess to answer your question in particular, there is needs for a lot of practitioners now with fresh thinking, fresh tools that go beyond the traditional ones that exist for a while, like design thinking, journey mappings, and emotion mapping. So I thought, let's leverage some of my engagements and interaction with a lot of firms and most of the tools I've been developing through my research in this book to communicate and disseminate, and hopefully this is helpful for people.
In your book's introduction, you highlight how we're living in an experience-driven economy where even beloved brands risk losing market share due to a single negative customer experience. Mohamed, what's driving this shift?
This just came a lot as well from a lot of facts and figures that a lot of big practitioner firms, we've been surveying customers to understand, the new generation of customers, what they think about the brand they are engaging with. And you can say the new wave of customers, let's say it this way, needs not the standard ways of services or the transactional strategy that we used to have with established firms. They need personalized experience, they need the speed, they need care about some of their issues and problems. Hence, this is a discussion in the book. To deliver a quality product or a service is not at the moment make your biggest competitive advantage. You have to have a quality product, of course, and quality service. You offer it to your customers. But what differentiates you versus your competitors is the customers really feel that they have a great experience and seamless experience with your brand. So we saw a lot of statistics. The PwC, for example, recently issued a report saying 32% of the customers that they surveyed, they saying they would switch if they have one bad incident with the brand that they love. And that's really a big statistics. Salesforce as well came up with a report that says 75% of the people that responded to the survey, they need consistency in the experience. And this is a big problem that I'm discussing in the book, because again, when organization building their different offers through different channels, the way I call it digital channels, that's including apps, for example. Now we are in the era of conversational AI, so chatbots and web chats, for example, or through, social media interactions as well. So all these kind of digital channels, this is your gateway to engage with your customers better. But then probably some of these firms have as well physical channels, right? So this is another, if you like, complexity as well to the way you are engaging and interaction with the customers here. Then I guess the social part as well. So probably we have an employee engaging with our customers. That could be through customer service or sales representative. This kind of human-to-human interactions as well, adding as well more complexity. So if you think about it, how can I establish firms try to manage that consistency experience? And we're hearing this a lot from customers complaining that we have a great experience in your physical place. For example, we enjoy shopping in your retail, but when I go to your app, it's not good enough or cranky or it's not that seamless. And the more difficulty as well it comes is actually when the customers go and check a product, for example, over your app or your website, and then they browse it and they like it and they want to go buy it from your physical, right? So they don't want to buy it from your digital channel. So that's make as well the journey going has a configurations from the digital to the physical here in this case. And sometimes as well, the availability of the product, they go to the physical place, they don't find the product. So the experience came as very negative. So that continuity and the consistency as well, that you have a great experience in the digital channel, similarly as well a great experience in the physical, make the overall experience of the customers that they have, I like this brand because whatever I'm dealing with across these different channels, they have a consistent experience they provide to you. But to do this, you need different ways of thinking about what we call it customer experience centricity here. So because you need to think about the holistic journey, that's completely different than thinking about these channels in isolation. And that's, I guess, that's where a lot of practitioners are struggling with the traditional tools, because they don't have a ways to think about this as a holistic journey and interactions between these different channels. Hence, a lot of discussions in the book about how can we think about these different engagements and interactions to help us to build a better and seamless experience to our customers.
Well, of course, you discuss the transition from product-centric to customer-centric business models.
Yeah.
What are the key challenges organizations face in making this transformation?
That's a very good question, Adrian. So I think if I would like to summarize it, there is many challenges, obviously, and contextual, but the way we found in a lot of our research with firms, it could summarize into three key pillars here. One is what we call it the attitude. right? So typically, because you are established firms, some of these firms are 30 years old in general, they tend to have a strategy like was completely different than the world that we live in at the moment. This is why this nimble and agility is quite important here. But the question is, sometimes you have resistance that could be from your employees inside the firm. Once you're starting to introduce new strategy, they don't get it, right? And we saw a lot of firms, some of them doing very aggressively, right? So we have to change, we have to do it. They don't break it down and they don't do it incrementally as an innovation level, or they're not preparing their employees about that change, which is a lot of these kind of efforts could fail. So there is an attitude challenge, right? So how can I convince my, if you like, not only my employees, the ecosystem of actors as well, or if you like, the other organization that works with me, that this is change is happening and they have to align with my strategy in this. But also as well, the customers, you have to introduce this kind of engagements and interactions and attitudes to the customers as well, and how they accept and adopt the changes that you are providing here. I think the second key challenge that they face in general is the capabilities. This needs a completely different capabilities than the existing ones that they have. And if you think about data-driven or the world of generative AI, large language model, these technologies that now it's in every board and every firm, how we can leverage it, how can we use it in our products, in our service, in our engagements with our customers, in social media, with our employees as well, how they can use this. So it's a big question, a big challenge, how to systematically you are introducing these capabilities and build it up to serve your employee efficiently, obviously, and secondly as well, build the right experience for your customers, which is hopefully can bring some return of investments to your firm. I think the last one is the methods. So we used to leverage a lot of methods completely different than the digital transformation asks us to do. So before, we used to have in marketing, for example, focus group, we're leveraging survey, like Net Promoter Score. For people that doesn't know what Net Promoter is, it's a survey metrics that we evaluate how customers can promote our services to their families and colleagues. So it's basically a question. And if you give a higher score, that's mean you are quite loyal and promoter to our firm. And if you get lower, that's mean that you really not satisfied for our service and organization. But in the world that we're living in the moment, these surveys doesn't give us the complete picture about the customer evaluations about our services. And the reason is we have digital channels, so we have a lot of data coming from this. This is through browsing capability, behavior of customer engaging with these digital capabilities. So this is a lot of data here that you can leverage to understand how your customers engaging with your digital capabilities. Also as well, customers interacting with you through conversation now. So chatbots and stuff like this is the wealth of data. You can understand what works well and what doesn't work well. If you have as well the behavioral data, how many of your customers, so we've been talking about customer life value, how frequent your customers is buying, clustering, segmenting your customers, etc. So how to combine these different data and leverage this as key inputs for capabilities like machine learning and AI to enable you really to predict whether your customer is loyal or not. And this is examples of the changes of methods from you are leveraging one metric or one way of evaluating your customers into a new ways of engaging with the data that you are capitalizing with or you are sitting in your system to help you to understand better what the customer think, feel, and actually do when engaging and interacting with your firm.
Kind of more holistic approach than just quantitative or qualitative research.
Exactly. And obviously that's come back to your question, the challenge, because it needs skills, it needs investments, it needs structured way to capture these data together. And again, breaking the silos and culture inside firms to enable this to be implemented in the right way to become a customer experience centric firm.
Mohamed, in chapter 5 of your book, you distinguish between customer satisfaction and customer delight. What key elements contribute to creating delightful experiences?
So again, come back to we are competing on a very competitive landscape. So customer has many options to go to firm A or firm B. To make, for example, firms to distinguish their engagements and interaction with customer and become loyal to them, they have to go extra mile with the customer. So become a business imperative now, satisfying our customers by just providing the things that they order or the product that they like us to do with the normal way of doing it, become now completely different. So I'll give an example here. What makes a lot of people using Amazon, for example, compared to different retail, some of the services like next day delivery was very successful, which is build that seamless interaction and engagement. And the way as well Amazon now thinking about it, how we can do this from next day or next 2 days into the same day. This is how you go extra mile with the customers here. How you delight your customers because this is what they care about, this is what they need about. So we came up in our research, there is a couple of key dimensions that you need to think about. So obviously as well, when we come to delights, from the delight, it's an emotional arousal, right? So you have to surprise your customer. You have to provide the things that they wouldn't expect. So hence the difference between satisfaction and delight, it's an extra effort. Now you go closer to the customers here. I think one of the other key things is the interpersonal relation with the customer, which is coming from where we see now a lot of the tech firms are going. It's personalization. So we saw this with a lot of digital-born firms, so Netflix, Facebook, and all these kind of new tech firms. What made them successful on their platform, they understood every customer, what they really care about, what they need about, what they prefer, and they offered that to them back, which is a little bit not there with a lot of established firms. It's very hard for them. And this is because they're not capturing the right data about the customer in a systematic way and put them together to enable them to understand what is really the preference for their customer in this case. So how you personalize, how you build interpersonalized relationship, this is another key factor here to enable you to come closer to your customers. I think the third element is problem solving. At the end of the day, customer, for example, when they go to customer service, right, this is mean that they have issues. There is some service failure or some problem that they had with the company. If dealing with this in a subtle and a quick way, sometimes the customers see this as a lacking, that the company are lacking behind in terms of providing the right experience for them. And how many of us, if I'm asking all your audience and yourself, you had issues with customer service, many of us will say this is not working, right? And again, because firms using customer service as a cost center, it just function to be there to respond to the customer's inquiries. But what we call a more customer experience centric firms is the one that understand this is a big channel or an important channel that we have to really resolve customer issues very quickly, even if some of them as well lose some money. So they're saying, even if we lose some money as well from this kind of inquiry, but at least the customer will attach to us. We retain the customers for a longer and become loyal to us. I think one of the key things as well, we are human. We are dealing with senses. Whatever channels we are interaction or we offering to our customers, it has to be very delightful, right? And this is why when you're producing an app or a website or even in a physical place, it has to be really in a very sensorial element, has sensorial elements to it to make you delightful when you are engaging with this. Also as well, the sequence of events, right? Experience here, it has different stages when the customer engaging. It could be a pre-purchase, within the purchase, and after purchase. A lot of firms always thinking about the purchase and after purchase and worry less about the pre-purchase. But this is really important. Recently, I've been talking to a lot of companies and they've been saying, gone these days as well, that customers now go and ask Google. Actually, now people asking ChatGPT now, if I want to take this course, for example, give me the best courses now that is happening, or if I want to ask products. So how now you have to really quantify what is going on in the pre-purchase stage and become on top of these new technologies that is happening. So at least that you are trying to offer and complement the solution to build a delightful experience for your customers. Lastly, you should give some perceived, what we call a perceived control, a control to your customers. And this is where Apple are really successful. When you go Apple stores, for example, you find the employees are really customer experience centric because they're not there for selling products. They're there to be advisor, right? So they are really supporting you through the process and to enable you to take the right decision. And this is really completely different than a traditional salesman who's actually trying to really sell the product to you. So now for me as a customer, when I feel that I'm in control in the whole process, I will be delighted. I don't feel that I've been ripped off, or the company now try to advise me with anything to enable me to buy the product or service, but actually someone advising. And that's what we really, as a human, we really like. We like someone advise, take our hands and hold our hands until we take our decision by ourselves.
Let's take a short break. We'll be right back after this message. In partnership with our friends at Kogan Page, June's Big Eye Book Club selection is Data-Driven Customer Experience Transformation. Optimize your omnichannel approach. The book's author, Professor Mohamed Zaki of the University of Cambridge, delivers an essential guide to creating consistent, exceptional customer experiences across digital, social, and physical channels. Data-driven customer experience transformation shows you how to leverage AI and data analytics to predict engagement, understand customer loyalty, and forge stronger relationships. Through rigorous research and compelling case studies from organizations including Microsoft, KFC, and Emirates Airline, Mohamed demonstrates how to design and implement customer experiences that drive growth and build brand loyalty. As an In-Clear Focus listener, you can save 25% on data-driven customer experience transformation when you order directly from the publisher at koganpage.com. Just enter the exclusive promo code BIGEYE25 at checkout. Shipping is always complimentary for customers in the US and the UK. In our increasingly complex omnichannel world, let data-driven customer experience transformation be your guide to delivering exceptional customer experiences. Welcome back. I'm talking with Professor Mohamed Zaki, author of Data-Driven Customer Experience Transformation. Mohamed, your book emphasizes the role of AI and data analytics in understanding and predicting customer behavior. Now, as regular listeners know, we love case studies on In Clear Focus. So could you share a specific example of how organizations can use these technologies to enhance customer experience?
So this is a second section of the book, which is talking about, now we spoke about designing and how we use these digital and physical and social interaction to design right experience. Now you need to test whether your design match the expectation of the customers and really the customer like whatever journey are offered to them. I will talk about a story and a case study and real story here. So when I started doing some work around this, it was interaction with Caterpillar. Obviously, this is one of the leading asset-heavy manufacturer organization. And as you know, that Caterpillar is also as well doing sell their digger and crushers through dealers as well globally, but also as well support this through a service for this, like any cars as well, like automotive as well. So you have a car, you typically as well have to service this car afterwards. And one of the key things that we had as a discussion at some point when we started this product, Caterpillar was really keen about the product, again, coming from product strategy and service, how to make the best product that we can offer to our customers, which is really obviously important. So they were focusing in the AI capabilities around machine data, right? So how can we predict when the machine will fail, which can advise our customers this is the right services that we should do with it. We send the technician to fix it to you in your site, or you send it back to their workshops. And that can enable them really to make the customers up and running, because obviously their customers, like in construction and mining, they need all these digger and crushers up and running most of the time. So this availability service, if you like. But we're starting to say, but do you want to understand as well what does the customer really think and feel about the services that you offer to them? So they have a traditional way of, obviously, after a service being run, they ask a list of questions, which is many firms are still following. That's including Net Promoter Score, for example. So how likely you can recommend our services to your friend and colleague in the business, etc. Customer satisfaction score. So that's, again, it's a rating score from 0 to 10. Interestingly, when we looked into a historical data, we found that customers sometimes give you 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, which is represent that you should be a loyal customers in this case. In the qualitative comment, they are heavy complainer. So they starting to say that we are don't like, for example, a technician comes to us very not communicating well, what's going to happen with the machine, and many other issues that is happening as well there, including some issues in the product defects and etc. But that shows there is a misalignment between a source of data here, which is a qualitative comments in the same instrument, which is a survey, versus the quantitative numbers, which are represented by a Net Promoter Score. And then we took this analysis as well, and then we complement it with the behavioral data. So this is the sales data. So actually how many of their customers, same customers that responded to these surveys with actual buying for the service or not. And when you do the traditional ways of segmenting customers, we found a big list of customers likely to churn. And if you connect this behavioral data with the attitudinal and if you like the emotional data, the way I talk about it, you found a lot of regular complaints that is happening from the customers, and the company didn't make an attention to what is the customers was really saying in these qualitative one. And the reason for this, because if customers give us 9 out of 10 and 10 out of 10, why we look into the qualitative or in the customer service or the conversation? Because they are loyal already. But this made us start thinking around if we manage to support the company here by connecting these different data points, showing them how this can be represented as a feature to machine learning capability, they accurately can predict whether the customer is really loyal or not loyal. And this is a real case and real implementation. Obviously, Caterpillar take this approach now and starting to complement these insights and become part of the process at the moment.
Excellent. As I mentioned in the introduction, Mohamed, you co-founded Customer Experience Insights Limited and developed the 360 CX AI platform. How does this kind of AI-powered decision-making platform help organizations manage customer experience in real time?
So this is again come back to similar from that case study that we done with Caterpillar. So a lot of organizations starting to ask the same questions. It's like, we need to really have a 360 view about these different data points that are coming from different systems. So what we typically say to firms, don't ditch Net Promoter Score. It's one data point, right? We're coming from a data science and AI world. Every data is matter. It's you need to qualify whether really the customer is really loyal or not. And by looking into the different data streams that you have, that's including customer service data, which is coming from call centers, conversation data that coming from chat interactions, and also these kind of textual data, if you like. So this is where the large language model is in natural language processing now is quite advanced that enable us to go deeper into what really the root causes that customer is complaining about. Where are the journey that the customers really always complain about? Where are our value creation elements that customers like and dislike as well? So this is including some of the things that we talk about, like resources and activities that we're doing with our customers in this case. And connecting this as well with the typical customer life value, quantitative metrics and behavioral data enable us to saying the valuable customers for us, like the gold customers or the platinum customer, where are the issues that they have with us versus the thing that they like about us? How can we replicate this with the golden customers? And also as well, does our efforts to recover some of our low value customers is really valuable or justify what we should do with them or not? And with the 360 AI, we provide this quantification and insights to enable firms A, to systematically connect these data together, and B, try to develop these kind of dashboards and metrics to enable them to become on top of their customers' issues and behavioral problems, and also as well advise them about what will be the right actions as well to enable them to really recover some of these issues.
Sounds fantastic. What's the most important takeaway you want readers to implement after reading your book?
I do a lot of executive education as well, Andrew, and from undergraduate all the way to executive to some of our industry consultancies, doing with a lot of firms. And one of the, if you like, the proud moments that we have when a lot of these executives come back and saying, oh, we took the portfolio of tools and blueprint that you taught us, or in the case of the book now, it's been listed there, and try to see in their context how they can implement their future configuration of services by connecting digital with physical and social, and where are their, if you like, investment should go for in terms of the resources and activities they do with their customers. And it's a proud moment when some people say, we took this, we go to our managers, for example, they told us, let's implement it, right? This is something, obviously, as an academic, as an industry advocate as well, for some applied research, would love to see, hopefully, from the people that reading the books, take some of these tools and framework, change their current practices that they are doing at the moment, given the complexity that we're living in. Hopefully, this can have a lot of outcomes and positive outcomes for their firms.
I look forward to reading that in maybe the second edition.
After take a break from the first edition.
Great conversation. Mohamed, if listeners would like to learn more about your work at the Cambridge Service Alliance, your Data-Driven Design for Customer Experience course, or your book, Data-Driven Customer Experience Transformation, what's the best way to do so?
Reach out. So probably my email as well going to be with you. We are available. If you have any questions, please drop us an email. I'm in LinkedIn as well. So please reach out if you would like to be connected. I would like to hear your stories, how people use these tools and frameworks, and hopefully you found it useful for yourself and your firm as well.
Excellent. And a reminder that In Clear Focus listeners can save 25% on data-driven customer experience transformation when you order directly from koganpage.com. using the promo code BIGEYE25 at checkout. Mohamed, thank you very much for being our guest this week on In Clear Focus.
Thank you, Adrian. Pleasure to be with you here and your audience.
Thanks again to my guest this week, Professor Mohamed Zaki, the author of this month's featured book, Data-Driven Customer Experience Transformation. As always, you'll find a complete transcript of our conversation with timestamps and links to the resources we discussed on the In Clear Focus page at bigeyeagency.com. Just select Insights from the menu. Thank you for listening to In Clear Focus, produced by Big Eye. I've been your host, Adrian Tennant. Until next week, goodbye.